Hey, I'm Mary Raleigh. I lead product marketing for Atlassian's newest homegrown product, Team Central. We built Team Central because we all wanted to spend less time talking and more time doing. Because let's face it, everyone hates status reporting. But really, revamping status reporting is just the start of our vision. The reality is, no team works in isolation. Teams need to interact with other teams to move work forward. But there's really no good way to share work in context across teams without being exposed to the nitty-gritty detail of the other team's work. You're actually probably already good at communicating within your own team. You probably have rituals like stand-ups and tools like dashboards for this. You also probably have well-established rituals and powerful products for communicating with your customer, from empathy mapping to release notes to service desks. What we all tend to forget or move to the bottom of our to-do list is communicating and connecting across teams. So let's take a peek at how Team Central can help your team of teams connect and communicate as frequently and frictionlessly as modern work demands. It starts with organizing your updates. Listen, I love spreadsheets for organizing my budget just as much as the next girl. Well, as much as anyone can like managing a budget, but you get what I'm saying. The thing is though, when it comes to sharing updates, spreadsheets really miss the mark. How am I supposed to properly express myself with only 20 characters? No mixed media? And to be frank, I really don't want to read a laundry list of other teams' updates. I only care about a select few. So we designed Team Central's homepage to feel less like a cluster of a color-coded spreadsheet and more like an organized newsfeed. Hopefully this experience looks familiar. It's inspired by the news feeds of the world's best social networks, designed to quickly create, consume, and engage with the content you care about. Like your social network newsfeed, Team Central's updates feed is opt-in only. By that, we mean you only get updates for projects, people, and goals you choose to follow. You'll also notice a quick glance summary of all the projects you care about up the top. And importantly, we show you what's changed since last week. So last week is going to be the last time you ever ask yourself, wait, was that read last week or did it change this week? No more endless scrolling through spreadsheets and email threads to find the updates you're looking for. Your Team Central newsfeed is your self-curated digest designed for quick reads and instant reactions. But there's one key difference between your familiar social network feeds and Team Central's updates feed, and that's time. We've looked at many of the workplace social networks and intranets and found that, like our personal social networks, they're all pretty noisy. So unlike social networks and traditional intranets, in which information is shared in an ad hoc manner, we've baked a predictable schedule of creation and consumption into Team Central. What that means is updates are written by project owners every Friday and delivered to every follower's inbox every Monday morning. We found this weekly cadence significantly reduces noise and frees stakeholders from asking for ad hoc updates, while also freeing project owners from having to respond to said requests. Not only are these updates organized by week to help reduce the noise of your personal newsfeed, you don't waste time remembering how to get to that newsfeed, kind of like you do when you're trying to look for that status spreadsheet that maybe it was sent in an email or a Slack ping or who knows. Team Central is for the majority of us whose browser tabs are maxed out. We deliver the same personalized digest that lives in your Team Central newsfeed I just showed you straight to your email inbox every Monday morning. Unlike a spreadsheet, you'll find the digest will come embedded with rich media, presentations, videos, charts. We empower teams to use whatever medium will help them communicate most effectively. Okay, now that we've shared the foundation of Team Central's weekly updates experience, let's dive deeper into the project owner experience and how updates get created. With Team Central, every project gets its own homepage. Think of it like your LinkedIn profile page. It's where people go to get critical context on the project. And it starts with answering 3 foundational questions every project should answer before getting started. What are you doing? Why are you doing it? And what does success look like? I know that sounds basic, but you'd be surprised how many projects get started without answering these key questions. So once completed, the About tab will be your project's landing page. Everyone who enters your project's home begins with context into what your project's what, why, and definition of success. So once your project's homepage is created, you're ready to start adding more context. In the limited square footage of status spreadsheets, there's really no opportunity to remind readers of the project's context and history. So the burden ends up falling on the project owner to repetitively answer questions when stakeholders inevitably forget what they read last week. With Team Central, critical context questions are always available and up to date. In Team Central, project context comes in the form of a list of the project contributors and their roles, direct links to related goals and dependent projects so anyone can easily connect the dots, and my personal favorite, you can add custom labels to represent departments, teams, initiatives, anything, which enables you to slice and dice projects and goals into custom reports. But to really put the nail in the coffin of the dreaded ad hoc status requests, we wanted to make it easier than remembering your childhood best friend's phone number to find any project in Team Central. So just like Jira, every project in Team Central has a unique identifier, which you can see here, in this case is Atlas 36. Teams at Atlassian use this to deflect one-off pings by linking the project's key in their team Slack channel. For nerds like me who were obsessed with the Dewey Decimal System as a kid, this is an organization lover's dream. So far, we've deflected requests for context messages and ad hoc asks to share links to project updates. But what about these messages? The dreaded time to update your row in a 1,200-line spreadsheet message. Oof. Thank God there are no read receipts in Slack because, quite frankly, I try to blame bad internet on losing any and all messages relating to updating status spreadsheets. If, like me, your brain explodes every time you get this message, Team Central's Update Composer is going to blow your mind in a good way. Behold, Team Central's beautiful Update Composer. First, let's update your project's status. It's hard-coded, and in a second, you'll see just how far we've come from color-coding spreadsheets to end-to-end project traceability. Next, the date. I know every feature can't be my favorite, but this one's up there. Because for all the nervous Nellies like me out there, fuzzy dates, as we lovingly call this, helps me sleep at night. We believe the level of specificity of your project date should be relative to your project's level of fidelity. So in the early months, a month or quarter is appropriate. And as you get closer to the actual due date, a day is available for you to select. Okay, now for the fun part, which you're seeing happen live now. Our Update Composer is designed to translate the experience of social media updates, especially Twitter, to the work world. Add a video narrative, copy and paste a screenshot, and of course, no update is complete without emojis. The only caveat is you only get 280 characters, like Twitter, because what we've heard from stakeholders is they want less characters and more context. So all you long-winded people out there like me, don't fret. It's a journey. It's not going to happen overnight. So we've built in an expandable notes feature to help ease the transition from 10-page memos to 280 character updates. Once you get into a rhythm of weekly updates, your project's homepage starts coming to life in Team Central. You can capture and keep track of stakeholders' feedback via comments. You can check out who's following your work and update your team, as resourcing is inevitably going to fluctuate. But the best part of your project's update page is the timeline. As you progress, new information surfaces and your product status is affected by the fast-changing environment. The timeline remembers it all. It serves as a window into the project's history, reflecting key changes in dates, people, and status, enabling any new team member, stakeholder, or lurking executive to quickly get up to speed. Okay, so within Atlassian, we're trying to reduce the work about work, or time spent talking about work. And we've effectively done that because every project in Atlassian has a home page in Team Central. So our project owners are a tiny bit happier because they're no longer wasting their time answering ad hoc requests. Stakeholders are also relieved because they are confident they have all the information they need to understand the status of their team's work. The thing is, the most influential and overburdened person in today's status reporting economy is this brave individual. This person is trying to coordinate all these comms across teams. We call this person the master of curation, aka a curator. And honestly, they suffer the most from inconsistencies, but also benefit the most from Team Central's baked-in rituals. Remember this message from before? You probably tried to forget it like me. A big part of the curator's role is actually making sure there's a steady flow of information and that updates are actually useful. They're the one who have to send project owners these messages, knowing how much we all hate filling out spreadsheets. And to be honest with you, equally annoyed that they have to waste their time nagging people. Well, nag no more, curators. The reminders, just like the digests, are built into Team Central. So every Friday, Team Central automatically nudges project owners with a message like this to share their progress so that the Monday digests contain the most up-to-date information. Because for all the work curators are doing to collect info into a status spreadsheet, the thing is, when an exec finally opens that spreadsheet 8 to 10 days later, it's inevitably out of date. That's not going to happen with Team Central. So we've seen Team Central adopted quickly across functions, teams, geos within Atlassian. And the thing is, as our project count in Team Central grows, it inevitably becomes harder and harder for stakeholders who are further and further from the work to stay connected. Lucky for peons like me, status spreadsheets are equally despised by senior leaders because they're impossible to summarize. So the burden often falls on the curator role to spend hours synthesizing all the updates into a presentation or memo. As a former curator myself, summarizing always felt like a waste of time. Why was I spending my time rewriting updates in a color-coded spreadsheet and putting them into a color-coded presentation? Like, I knew both documents were going to be viewed once and lost. So the lazy part of me was always looking for a shortcut. Lucky for me, I work with a team of very talented engineers who also hate inefficiencies and love shortcuts. So we built a set of lenses to automatically create executive views of updates. No rewrites needed. We'd like to think of these lenses like zoom levels on a map. Project owners need a street view to navigate all the potholes. Project sponsors and dependent project owners, they want more of a city view with callouts to where there might be potholes. But group and executive leaders, they don't want the nitty-gritty detail. They want maybe the county or country view with highlights as to how all the roads connect. So for group and executive leaders and lazy curators like me, we built this goal view that I'm about to show you, which groups all projects which may be contributing to a team, department, or company outcome. In status spreadsheets, it's so easy to get lost in the minutia. We're reading updates. We end up forgetting, like, why are we doing this in the first place? Team Central's goal lens allows project owners and executives alike to maintain an outcome-oriented perspective on project work. We know goals come at different layers too: company, department, team, etc. So we built in nesting via sub-goals. You can see that on the right here. So that as you scale, Team Central's goal and project system scales with you. For example, within Atlassian, we use OKRs by mapping objectives to Team Central's goals and key results to Team Central's sub-goals. But whether you're using the OKR framework, KPIs, or maybe you have your own homegrown goal setting structure, Team Central's goal, pun intended, is to help you organize your updates from any lens. So at the end of the month, when the goal owner would normally be scrambling, messaging project owners for input so that they can appropriately score the goal, they actually don't have to do that at all, because the last 4 weeks of updates live within the goals homepage, as you can see here in the contributing projects section. But wait, there's one more lens I think is going to knock your socks off. We call this lens label view. And in my opinion, it's the crown jewel of Team Central. It's my personal favorite way to view updates across project, goals, and teams, probably because it's personalized and I love all things custom. So imagine this: you're a curator and you have a set of goals and projects you're tracking across maybe like a department initiative, like when we all had to scramble to be GDPR compliant. Or maybe it's a cross-department initiative, like when we all had to scramble to be remote and we spun up a program to improve the remote employee experience. How do you get a finger on the pulse of those types of programs? They don't really fit cleanly into the goals or projects, but they're rather cumulative efforts across functions, projects, goals, and teams. That's why we created Team Central's label view. Now you're probably getting a sense for why this is my favorite view in Team Central. You can create a label for anything. Add that label to all relevant goals, sub-goals, and projects, and this custom curated view is only one click away. So I wanted to end on Team Central's updates feed because it's truly transformed the way Atlassian and early adopter teams communicate across projects, functions, and teams. We built it to be familiar enough that it doesn't feel like one more dreaded tool to learn, and unique enough that it'll be a no-brainer to convince your teammates to ditch their status spreadsheets. We're really proud of how teams are using Team Central to reduce their operating overhead, so they can spend less time talking about work and more time getting shit done. However, I'd be remiss if I didn't show you one last thing, because as of now, you just have to believe my word when I say Team Central is going to help your teams communicate more effectively. But actually, you don't have to take my word for it, because built into every organization's Team Central experience are insights that help you understand how healthy your team-to-team communication is, and also highlight how far you've come since your status spreadsheet days. So first at the top here, you can see at a glance your overall project communication adoption. The chart below is going to help you answer if your teams are communicating frequently enough. In this chart, we can measure for each week the overall health of project communication across the whole org. For example, if we haven't heard from someone for a few weeks, we mark them as possibly unhealthy. So something for you to look into. The final Team Central Workplace Insights chart helps us answer, is anyone actually listening? It's no use writing updates if nobody is. And we tell you if work is going to waste or not, so you can take any appropriate action. I'm so excited about Team Central. Obviously, as a former curator, it's my dream product. I believe really, really deeply in focusing on team-to-team communication, and that those efficiencies are gained in so many ways in customer value for your project teams. Visit Atlassian.com/Team Central to get more of a deep dive into the product, and maybe start with your teams today. We're so excited to onboard our first cohort of teams into the Team Central Early Access program, which is live now. If you've made it this far into the presentation and you still aren't convinced, please do shoot me an email at mary@atlassian.com. We'd love to hear more about your team. Thank you.